As India grapples with vaccine shortage, the centre has decided to ramp up vaccinations. A total of 1.92 crore doses that include Covishield and Covaxin are going to be supplied to the states and union territories free of cost from 16th to 31st of May. From May 1 to 15, a total of quantum of more than 1.7 crore vaccine doses has been made available by the centre to the states. In addition to this, more than 4.39 crore doses were made available for direct procurement by the states as well as private hospitals this month so far. Meanwhile, Dr. Harshvardhan is going to be holding a meeting with health ministers of 4 states for COVID vaccination and management at 3 p.m. Sputnik was rolled out yesterday. The states, however, have not received the jabs. We find out why. Here's a report by Milan Sharma.
The first lot of Russia's Sputnik V vaccines arrived in India's Hyderabad on May 1st, but it has been more than 10 days since with no clarity on where they are. So what's caused the delay? 150,000 vaccines have been imported from Russia. Of this, 100 samples were sent to batch testing to the Central Drugs Laboratory in Kasauli, Himachal Pradesh. The protocol laid down by the Drug Controller General of India states that the manufacturer of the vaccine will be required to get every batch of the vaccine tested or released before it can be used under the National COVID-19 vaccination program. Even after 14 days, the process is not complete. Vaccine batch testing is done to test for sterility, toxicity, efficacy, or any sort of contamination of the vaccine batch, among other factors. The testing takes at least 10 days to conclude, but there could also be another reason. Sputnik V vaccine has yet not been approved by more credible drug regulators such as US FDA or WHO or even the European drug regulator. There is no word on the vaccines reaching any states either. The Delhi Health Minister also confirmed that they haven't received any communication yet on Sputnik V's supply.
2 लाख से ज्यादा करीब स्पुतनिक देश में आई है। क्या दिल्ली को कोई मिला है, कुछ मिला है या आपको कुछ बताया गया है?
अभी दिल्ली को नहीं मिली है।
Meanwhile, the government is hoping that the Russian doses will be available to the population by next week.
स्पुतनिक वैक्सीन देश में आ गया है और आज मुझे ये कहते हुए खुशी है कि अगले हफ्ते हमें उम्मीद है कि स्पुतनिक वैक्सीन विल बी अवेलेबल इन द मार्केट। जो लिमिटेड सप्लाई पहली आई है वहाँ से वो उसकी बिक्री शुरू होने की उम्मीद है अगले हफ्ते, अर्ली नेक्स्ट वीक, और उसके बाद उनकी और सप्लाईज आएंगी और फिर जुलाई के महीने से ये बनना शुरू हो जाएगा और ये सब कुछ उस पीरियड में 15.6 करोड़ तक बनने का एस्टीमेट है फ्रॉम द कंपनी।
With Milan Sharma, Bureau Report, India Today.
API and Services of Dr. Reddy's Labs, Deepak Sapra, in an exclusive interview with India Today, has said that for now, Sputnik is going to be available in select private hospitals in India. Since vaccine shortage, storage at minus 18 degrees is something that Sputnik requires. Listen in to what he has to say.
So you're dealing directly with private hospitals, if I understand you correctly, Mr. Sapra?
So as of now, we are working with private hospitals, and we will also get into tie-ups with other entities, for example, state government entities as well as the central government.
Why is that you chose private hospitals first? Did you sense that, given the cost of the vaccine, not many people will be able to afford it, hence it just makes more sense to have these vaccines in private hospital setups?
So we are making a start. As I told you, we are running these pilots to ensure integrity of our supply chain. That's why we're working with a few partner hospitals to make sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. And that is what we are doing with a few select hospitals. We're working also very, very closely with the government and with several agencies of the government to make sure that all these aspects are taken care of as we get into the ramp up in the month of June and July.
No end to centre versus opposition face-off over oxygen. Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has yet again written the Prime Minister requesting him to install oxygen generation plants in Bengal. Mamata's head out saying that the state was scheduled to get 70 PSA plants, but now has intimated that only 4 oxygen generators are going to be set up in the first phase. Mamata in her letter has stated that Delhi's indecisiveness is now putting a strain on Bengal's existing resources of PSA units. Meanwhile, state's COVID graph continued northward climb with 20,839 cases, 129 deaths reported in the last 24 hours itself. Just when India's economy was recovering from the aftermath of first COVID wave, the second monster surge, almost 98% of the country is now currently in various stages of lockdown, has put India's growth in the peril. The virus is threatening to infect the economy yet again. It's not like the economy was anyway very good pre the pandemic. It was anyway in shambles, but now with the virus, it's been a double whammy of sorts. But will this impact be less severe at this point of time? Harmeet with this report.
The country's financial capital. The country's IT capital. The country's very own Detroit. The country's national capital. No Big Bang announcement like March last year. But 98% of India is under some sort of a lockdown, localized or state-wise. This is to fight the second and a more devastating surge.
The pandemic's toll on the economic health is quite visible. Consumer sentiment has taken a huge hit after the devastating second wave. Retail shops are shut, though large factories are still working following COVID protocol and transportation between states is going on. But in a country like India, where 60% of the GDP runs on consumer sentiment, the economy will be hurt regardless.
Worrying signs have emerged in the formal sector. The Centre for Monitoring Indian Economy has placed the country's unemployment rate at a 4-month high, with more than 7 million jobs lost last month. Of them, more than 3.5 million were salaried employees.
A secular decline in salaried jobs. Between January 21 and April 21, nearly 9 million salaried jobs were lost. So that's really big. And in April, we saw 3.84 million salaried jobs getting lost. So that's the secular decline I worry about.
With tighter virus restrictions in place again, various rating agencies have downgraded India's growth from previous projections. Prospects of recovery aren't as bullish as they were a couple of months ago.
It's going to be fairly tough times for us this year because overall consumption is going to be retarded, primarily on account of limited growth in jobs, limited growth in income, and to top it all, more expenditure on health and healthcare, which means there's less money left for discretionary spending. So I think this all fits into this picture of saying that growth is going to be lower at around 9.2%. Of course, there's always a downward bias because today we are trying to hypothesize as to how the virus would pan out, how the lockdowns would work out.
The back office of the world's financial industry, for instance, is battling a ferocious rise in the number of cases.
Soaring cases in Bengaluru have impacted work-from-home operations of several global companies. Many employees are either reporting sick or attending to family emergencies.
Unlike the first wave, the second has penetrated the villages deeply. Earlier this month, an SBI research reported that the share of rural districts in new cases has increased to 48.5% in May as compared to 36.8% 2 months ago.
This time, I think the cases are increasing in rural India, and they can disrupt rural activity, which is now about 50% of India's GDP. Takes place in comes from the rural part of India. So I think that needs to be monitored very carefully.
For now, though, the restrictions don't threaten to derail the economy completely. They are instead expected to help break the chain of transmission. But full immunity to humans and the national economy perhaps depends on how this period is used to inoculate the population. Bureau Report, India Today.
India Today came to the rescue of a hapless father and a newborn baby girl in Hyderabad, both of whom were first forced to wait at the Gandhi Hospital in the city, where the COVID-positive mother is admitted. Here's our report.
A 5-day-old infant, a COVID-positive mother, and a hapless father. Forced to wait outside the Gandhi Hospital in Hyderabad with his newborn girl. The infant is only surviving on warm water and milk powder as her mother battles coronavirus in the same hospital where she gave birth.
Behind me is a father waiting outside this COVID-19 dedicated hospital of Hyderabad, the Gandhi Hospital, hoping that the mother of this 5-day-old child recover fast so that she can come out and feed this hungry baby.
20-year-old Krishna is a farm laborer and along with his mother is trying his best to take care of his baby girl. The father had no option but to wait outside the hospital because neither could he afford accommodation in the city, nor could he go back home to Zahirabad, 115 kilometers from Hyderabad.
इधर कहीं को बैठे आप?
क्या करना मुसीबत में बैठे हैं सर?
क्यों मुसीबत है?
क्या उसका अम्मा का इलाज तो होना ना? उसका अम्मा का इलाज भी नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, उसको लेको जाओ बोल तो वो गए आप लाजोन की कैसा लेको जाना? सुबह में तो लेको जाना उसे.
Fearing that someone might steal the baby, Krishna chose not to stay at the shelter home. After knowing of their plight, India Today arranged for help an ambulance and sent the father baby and her grandmother back to their village. As staying outside the hospital in this pandemic is not safe for the family and especially for the newborn. We at India Today wish that the baby remains hale and hearty and is soon reunited with her mother. With Ashish in Hyderabad, Bureau Report, India Today.
Could cannabis be the wonder drug in treating coronavirus? A study underway at the University of Calgary and many more universities, in fact, around the globe, are investigating if strains of cannabis can be used to control respiratory distress, which is triggered by COVID-19. I'm bringing you this report. Take a look. The world of study in cannabis being a wonder drug is a fascinating one. A lot of effort and study is going on around the world to discover cannabis strains as a cure for a number of diseases. The latest one pertains to COVID. Can cannabis strains help reduce inflammatory distress? A study from Pathway Research Incorporated from the University of Calgary is underway. It studies the impact of cannabis strains on controlling the cytokine storm that precedes severe respiratory distress due to COVID. A cytokine storm is an inflammatory response and can cause symptoms like fever, fatigue, and vomiting. It can also advance to a point where the patient may need ventilator support and can be fatal. Ayurvedic doctors in India who have data with Vijaya or cannabis extracts tend to agree on the study conducted by the University of Calgary.
Cannabis is really very effective against these agents. So as a clinician, we have seen that when along with standard of care, we have prescribed and administered cannabis medicine, CBD oil, the patients were able to get relief in their symptoms. Their oxygen support got reduced within very quickly and in few days. Hospitalization also got reduced. So we recommend along with standard of care, cannabis medicine should be added for all the COVID patients.
Researchers even from the University of Nebraska in 2020 pointed to CBD as a likely candidate for treating COVID-related inflammation.
there has been extensive preclinical and animal model work in Israel, Canada, and the United States, where they've utilized CBD or the non-psychoactive cannabinoid compound derived from the flower or leaf on animals to assess its impact, where it's seen it's reduced the cytokine storm, is actually promoted and protected the pulmonary and the respiratory system, and is re-established inflammatory homeostasis.
CBD has been labeled safe by the US FDA for children with intractable epilepsy. While none of the studies on cannabis treatment for COVID is conclusive, research is currently underway to study different cannabis strains to see the efficacy in reducing inflammation. The study found cannabis may tame or reduce the severity of COVID-19. No study till date suggests cannabis to be conclusively used as a treatment or a cure for COVID-19 on its own. But it does suggest it may have the potential to bring down inflammation and reduce anxiety in those with COVID. But until studies are done with clinical trials and are conclusive in their findings, experts say this prevails to be just a well-supported theory for now. In New Delhi, Chaiti Narula for India Today. China is the biggest manufacturer of medical equipment, but on India Today, we show you how China is profiting from this pandemic. Sudden hike in the cost of equipment doubled, in some cases tripled. To make matters worse, there is a sharp fall in the quality of the products as well. Geeta Mohan with this report.
As India grapples with a deadly pandemic, China tries to profit from it. Take a look at these images. This is a medical-grade oxygen concentrator imported from China before the outbreak of the second wave. The images clearly reveal that medical-grade components including compressors have been used in the oxygen concentrators. But in the second wave, there was a sharp rise in the cases and subsequent demand for oxygen concentrators also increased. Look at these images. The new oxygen concentrators being dispatched from China have home-grade components of poor quality.
Orders they had booked in April to be delivered just after Labour holidays, they cancelled and did not deliver. Because just after Labour holidays, they were able to sell the concentrators at a higher price than what the orders value that they took in April.
To make matters worse, Chinese firms have in some cases doubled the price of the equipment and in some cases increased the price 3 times. To add insult to injury, Chinese firms stand accused of arbitrarily cancelling existing contracts and then asking twice, and at times 3 times the price for renegotiating the same cancelled contract. All this when the Chinese ambassador to India claims that Chinese firms and companies are working overtime to send supplies to India. Chinese officials tried to give the impression that humanitarian aid was coming from China, but was actually substandard equipment at much higher rates. The US-India Strategic Partnership Forum alone has pledged 1 lakh oxygen concentrators to India as part of COVID relief assistance. Majority of the equipment is being sourced from China, but the spike in demand has not only driven up the prices, but has also resulted in low-end quality equipment being exported. India has protested the surge pricing and asked China to ensure steady and timely delivery. A big worry for India, apart from the surge pricing, is the quality of material being sent, which in case of medical equipment poses a serious threat to the lives of the patients.
It is a matter of life and death, and China is choosing to make profits at the cost of people's lives. Chinese companies have not only indulged in surge pricing, now they're sending substandard quality of critical COVID supplies to India. In New Delhi, Geeta Mohan for India Today.
It is a mega India Today exclusive news break. More proof coming in of Chinese deception along LAC. High-resolution satellite images have exposed Chinese PLA positions near Gogra and Hot Springs. On your TV screens right now, the images of forward PLA posts near Gogra that witnessed heavy build-up in July 2020, but later saw partial disengagement after the military-level talks. India Today has also accessed satellite images of PLA posts near Gogra and a comparison of the optical satellite imagery from Feb 2021 near Gogra with the SAR imagery of same area from 12th of April this year confirmed the status quo in the vicinity. But this is not the end. Satellite images have found that the PLA has set up permanent structures near hot springs, including the bunkers.